can see third best since 2011, the beginning of last year, rating on the road with 15 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. They spot the ball at the 18-yard line. And the first scrimmage play of the game for the Houston Texans is play action and a screen into traffic. And you've got 2 guys right there. Garrett Graham makes the catch. And he was side by side with one of his offensive linemen. It's a short gain. It'll be 2nd down and 9.
Just a little tight end screen out here, but Nick Roach looks like to be the one that's all over this, read it all the way and just made the play. The one thing that you'll see with the Chicago Bears defensively, they're not real complex, but what they do really well.
The running back is Foster. Bootleg. Schaub has a ton of time, going deep and incomplete. Leaping for it was Andre Johnson, covered by Charles Tillman. What a battle that's going to be tonight. 3rd and 9. Let's take a look at the Texans starters.
Matt Schaub, Virginia.
Arian Foster, University of Tennessee.
James Casey, Rice University.
Andre Johnson, the U.
Kevin Walter, Eastern Michigan.
Garrett Graham, Wisconsin.
Dwayne Brown, Hermitage High, Richmond, Virginia.
Wade Smith, Lake Collins Junior High, Dallas, Texas.
Chris Myers, Miami Palmetto Middle School.
Ben Jones, Georgia.
Derek Newton, Arkansas State.
Strength of that line on the left side. Jones is a rookie guard. Newton in his 2nd year, the right tackle. 3rd down and 9 from the 19-yard line, and they hand the ball off to Arian Foster. And Foster will take it to the 23-yard line, and that's all. 4th down and 5. Adonijah makes the tackle, and it's a 3 and out.
Doesn't this start to this game for the Texans remind you a little bit of the Green Bay Packer game? Remember, we came out, we were saying the same thing. They're going to run, and establish it. And they came out throwing the ball. Well, Matt Schaub on that 2nd down play had a guy wide open in the flat. Didn't take it, took the shot, and now they're punting.
Donnie Jones, the left-footed kicker. Devin Hester, one of the great return men of all time, backs up, takes him at the 25. And Hester out past the 40, tackled at the 45-yard line. A 20-yard return, tackled by Quentin Demps. And let's take a look at the Chicago offense.
Jay Cutler, Vanderbilt University.
Matt Forte, Tulane University.
Brandon Marshall, wide receiver, University, Central Florida.
Devin Hester, the U.
Earl Bennett, Vanderbilt.
Kellen Davis, Michigan State.
Jamarcus Webb, West Texas A&M.
Charlie Rochelle, Dominguez High School.
Roberto Garza, Texas A&M Kingsville.
Lance Lewis, San Diego State.
Gabe Carimi, Wisconsin.
Carimi will have his hands full tonight against his former college teammate J.J. Watt, both going to Wisconsin. And that Chicago offensive line has been their biggest issue this season. Even though Forte, as a runner, is averaging 5 yards per carry, he's been particularly effective on outside runs. And Cutler will go to the air on 1st down. Flushed out, throws, and that's a loose ball and picked up by the Texans. That's Tim Dobbins coming up with it. He's inside the 40 and takes it all the way inside the Chicago 30-yard line. So the pass for Kellen Davis, and it would have been an 8 or 9 yard gain, and the Texans get the strip.
I tell you, if you want to take the mantle of being the top team in the AFC, you have to come play physical football against a very physical Chicago Bears team, and that opening shot by Daniel Manning sent a message.
At the 43-yard line on 1st down, off a quick count, and that pass is caught by Andre Johnson. That's a 1st down. Let's take a look at the Chicago vaunted defense.
Israel Idonijah, Manitoba.
Henry Mountain, Texas.
Stephen Paya, Oregon State University.
Julius Peppers, North Carolina. Nick Roach, Northwestern.
Brian Urlacher, University of New Mexico.
Lance Briggs, Desert Swarm, Arizona.
Tim Jennings, Georgia.
Major Wright, the University of Florida.
Chris Conley, Cal.
Charles Tillman, the University of Louisiana.
Tillman's at an off-the-charts year. You look at the linebackers, Urlacher and Briggs. Meanwhile, Jennings leads the league in interceptions with 6 on 1st down. Off play action again. A lot of time when the pass is overthrown and incomplete, intended for Andre Johnson, who has been a Texan since he was drafted in the first round and 3rd overall back in 2003, the second year of the franchise.
Well, anytime you play against the Chicago Bears, you know that these linebackers, as great as they are, they want to play downhill fast, and you can go play action and throw it right behind them. That time the ball looked like it just slipped out of the hand of Matt Schaub.
Second down and 10. Foster looking for room to the outside. Around the corner he goes for about a 4-yard gain behind a block by Wade Smith, the left guard. Ball at the Chicago 29-yard line.
Well, one of the things on this stretch play that they run is they want to try and set a hard edge. They don't want Arian Foster getting to the outside. So you see Melton setting the edge. Foster goes inside of him and then back outside. The Chicago Bears defensively are going to try and shorten the field, box him in tonight with that strategy right there.
Foster in his 4th year, in his 2nd year, 2010, he led the league in rushing. 3rd and 7, blitz coming. Schaub steps away from it, then hits Johnson, and he gets tackled by Tillman, but not until a first down is picked up again by Johnson. So going his way tonight. Andre Johnson, no stranger to the Pro Bowl in his 10th season.
Well, you're going to get this crossing route right across the field here, and Andre Johnson, you're starting to see over the past 3 weeks or so, he is feeling healthy again, and when Andre Johnson is fast, it's going to be very difficult for Charles Tillman to keep up with him. Tillman has him all night tonight.
From the 21-yard line. On first down. Looking for room. Foster bounces it to the outside. Johnson hasn't played all that much over the last couple of years. He's missed a lot of games, and Gary Kubiak was saying, hey, look, we just have to give him a playoff every now and then. So he takes his second playoff here.
Yeah, like the last 3 games, though, 25 catches, and he even admitted himself, he had a couple of knee procedures, groin issues this season. But it has just been one of those nights, and it's going to be one of those nights tonight if you play against Tillman all night. He's going to throw those right and left hooks and try and get that ball out. 4 times he did it last week.
4 forced fumbles in their win in Tennessee. Big hole. Foster will set up a first down and goal. Major Wright, the safety, makes the tackle. So Foster for a 13-yard gain at the Chicago 7 now. First and goal.
Chris Conte right here is going to try and come down here, and it's going to set the edge right here where they can get outside, and that creates the alley. A lot of times they want to bring their safeties down inside, and if they get caught up in the traffic, it creates some big gaps.
Johnson back in. He's wide to the right. Here's Foster, and he gets spilled after a gain of 1. Arian Foster played his college ball at Tennessee and was undrafted. Second down and goal.
Isn't it remarkable to think of a guy that's come into the National Football League and just torn it up? Couldn't get anybody to draft him. He is a character too, boy. He is a guy that sort of a philosophy major, and what do you say in the huddle? Do you hear his opinions in the huddle? Said no, if he started on that, we get nothing but delayed game penalties.
Favorite philosopher? Descartes. Just for the record. Second and goal from the 6. And here goes Foster to the right side again. And another 1-yard pickup, setting up a third down and goal from the 5-yard line.
Corey Wooten this time going to be right here to set this edge this time. You can see what they're doing. As long as Foster has to cut inside that defensive end, the Bears feel like they have the advantage with Urlacher and Briggs coming from inside out.
Third and goal. 3 receivers bunched to the left, and then it's swung out to Foster, and they'll run him out of bounds at the 3-yard line. Tillman was there. So they had a first and goal at the 7-yard line, and now a 4th and goal at the 3, and then comes the field goal unit. Check it out. Log on to NBCSports.com, SNF Extra. A lot of goodies. You can see what the screen looks like. Mike Florio chatting, Michelle Tafoya as well. And tonight, social media analysis with Jared Payton, the son of the late great Walter Payton. Jared himself, a guy who played in the NFL for part of the 2005 season with the Tennessee Titans. Sunday Night Football Extra. All right, now on first down, they hand the ball off to Matt Forte, and there's nothing happening there over the left side. Tackled by Brady James. So Cutler comes here in 09 in the deal with Denver. The town is over the moon about it. So he's now in his 50th start with the Bears, 31-18. And if he can stay here for a number of years, he figures to eclipse a lot of marks that have been held for a long, long while by people like Sid Luckman, going back a long time. And if Brandon Marshall can stay here for a while, he too will write his name into the Bears record books. Second down and 8 from the 39-yard line. And off play action. Cutler throws to the outside, and that is caught by Earl Bennett, with whom Cutler played at Vanderbilt. So the two hook up here for a first down.
Well, now the Bears giving the Texans a little bootleg action of their own. And one of the things that the Texans were worried about is that Jay Cutler has the ability to move around a little bit. Aaron Rodgers, in the only defeat the Texans have had this year, got burned several times by Aaron Rodgers' mobility. And they know Jay Cutler has the ability to do much of the same kind of stuff.
Tonight, Rodgers threw 6 touchdown passes a month ago on Sunday Night Football at Reliant Stadium. And there goes Forte for a gain of 3. Let's take a look at that Houston defense.
J.J. Watt, Wisconsin. Earl Mitchell, Arizona.
Antonio Smith, Shaolin Temple. Brooks Reed, University of Arizona.
Tim Dobbins, Glencliff High School.
Brady James, LSU. Connor Barwin, University of Cincinnati.
Kareem Jackson, University of Alabama.
Danielle Manning, Abilene Christian University.
Glover Quinn, North Pike High School.
J. Joe, Rock Hill.
Jonathan Joseph, one of the best in the league, and that's a defense guided by Wade Phillips in his second year as the defensive coordinator, and a tremendous turnaround for the Houston defense last year in this. Second and 8, and Cutler will take off, and Jay will get taken down very close to a first down. J.J. Watt and Reed are both there, and they'll spot the ball just a little short of the first down.
Well, one of the big questions is going to be the play of Gabe Karimi. Honestly, last week he played one of the worst games I've seen, and this one he gets knocked over. He did get tripped up on that play by his own man. But for Jay Cutler, again, here comes the mobility. And Jay Cutler has started pretty slowly in the first quarter. Just a 38 quarterback rating in the first quarter. It gets progressively better as he goes throughout the game.
He's the worst in the league in the first quarter and the best in the fourth. On third and 1, the pass is caught by Hester, and that's a great tackle by Kareem Jackson. And that may be spotted just short of the first down. Kareem Jackson, third year, he was the #1 pick out of Alabama in 2010, and draw him offside. That Evan Rodriguez at fullback and Michael Bush is the running back. Marshall goes in motion, and they will run it. And this is Bush, who they picked up from Oakland, and he loses the ball after getting the first down, and nothing but white shirts surround it. And the Texans come up with it. Glover Quinn forced the fumble. Brady James comes away with it, and the Texans have taken the ball away again. Do hear the ball at the 27 as they start this drive. Justin Forsett is the running back. Off the play fake, and Schaub gets out of the lead. No grounding once he's out of the pocket. Let's go to Michelle.
Al, rookie left end Shea McClellan out with a concussion for the Bears. He left the game in the first quarter early and went to be evaluated, and he is done for the night. Meanwhile, linebacker Tim Dobbins for Houston, he recovered that fumble earlier, and then he went to the locker room, and he hasn't come back out. He missed the last series, the defensive series for Houston. We have not been told why, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. And that's very significant because Brian Cushing there, middle linebacker who got hurt, inside linebacker against the Jets over a month ago, his spot was taken by Dobbins. So Dobbins was a fill-in at that spot, and now we have to wonder about him. And on second and 10, the pass is caught by Andre Johnson, who's now caught 3 passes already, and that will set up a third down and 5.
Well, as soon as the Bears roll one of their safeties down, they know Tillman has Andre Johnson one-on-one. They've hit this one already a couple of times out there. You know eventually that's going to turn into a long one. With the way the wind is swirling around out here, long passes are going to be very difficult to complete, so expect Tillman to start sitting on that one.
3rd and 5, Foster back in the game. In the pocket, and the pass is caught, and Foster takes the ball to the 40-yard line. You have two of the best pass-catching running backs in the league playing tonight. Foster on one side and Forte on the other.
Julius Peppers is an absolute monster. You know where he is out here, working against an excellent tackle, and Dwayne Brown goes right through him that time. And the Texans would love to not have to help Dwayne Brown, but if he gets many more clean shots on Matt Schaub like that, they may have to adjust.
3:15 left in the quarter. On 1st down. Play action. Schaub backing all the way up, and then he just throws the pass incomplete. And who was he throwing it for? The crowd wants grounding. James Casey was the closest. He's the fullback, number 86. Senator says no grounding.
Well, they had the coverage down the field, but that was an attempt at a screen pass. And once again,
number 68 is eligible.
Just saying who's eligible. But once again, this is a well-coached Chicago Bears defense. If you're going to get a screen pass off, you're going to have to be pretty devious. They've been sitting all over those tonight.
And Gene Steratore did announce to the crowd that he was trying to get the ball to number 86. 2nd down and 10. Foster now. And he can barely get out of the backfield. The Texans love to run outside. Bears do too with Forte. Since 2009, 61% of their runs have been outside the tackles. That's the highest percentage in the league, and they average 0.7 of a yard more on those outside runs than all others.
Bears know that too, and they've been setting that edge pretty hard on every one of those stretch plays, and so far the only thing really working for Matt Schaub, it seems like, is he's been throwing it probably more than they wanted to tonight.
Raining harder, and it will increase as the night goes on. 3rd and 10, and that is picked off. Tim Jennings at 7. He leads the league in interceptions, and Jennings will be down back where he made the interception, so that run back will not count. Pass intended for Keyshawn Martin, but they're going to spot the ball. He was down back at the Houston 45-yard line. But 7 picks now for Jennings.
Keyshawn Martin's just going to slip and fall, and for Tim Jennings, interception number 7 was probably the easiest. You could see the down by contact, though, as he tripped over his leg.
So they start at the 45-yard line. And Cutler will go to the air. And off his back foot, he throws, and that is caught at the 31-yard line by Brandon Marshall. He got position on Jonathan Joseph and picks up the 1st down.
That was awesome. I mean to tell you, that's NFL football right there. Brandon Marshall, the outside receiver. Watch this. He slips, falls. He's just going to take rebound position. Knew he had to hold off Jonathan Joseph and just caught it with one arm. And Jay Cutler just floated that thing out there like he had total faith in his guy to make a play. And by golly, he did. That was brilliant.
At the 31-yard line, that's a gain of 14. That's Chicago's 2nd 1st down of the game. 1:40 to go in the quarter. Forte, 5th year with the team, to the 29-yard line. Matt Forte with Tim Dobbins, as you saw back in the game, number 52. Forte picked in the 2nd round, played his college ball at Tulane, and he's been a great asset for the Chicago Bears through the years. A lot of people around here wanted him to carry the ball more earlier in the season, with that ankle, Chris, was bothering him.
Yeah, and you know, Mike Tice, the offensive coordinator, is saying I was taking a lot of heat, but there was just no way, with the way he was feeling, I could afford to give him the ball that much. But now they say he's 100% healthy and a major factor.
Averaging 5 yards a carry, as I mentioned before. Great at catching the ball. The backfield here is empty. Cutler out of the gun. Deep over the middle and intercepted at the 6-yard line. And Danielle Manning, oh my goodness, Daniel Manning had this game circled on his calendar because the Bears didn't make him the offer that he wanted 2 years ago. And what a quarter he has had.
Would you have had illegal contact? Possibly down the field, not called.
Justin Forsett is the running back here, and they give it to him. The backup to Foster. Gains 2. Stephen Pyatt making the tackle. And, well, Manning has a lot of buddies on that Bear defense. And Urlacher says, hey, miss you, man.
You know, this Bears defense probably has more fun than anybody. We were watching them the other day, and when they were on the bench, they were playing charades. You know, you're thinking monsters and Midway and all that kind of stuff. Here they were doing sounds like, you know, movie and all that kind of stuff. They do it every day.
Waiting seconds of the period on 2nd and 9. And this is Arian Foster, who will end the quarter with a run out to the 28-yard line for a first down. Well, 4 turnovers in the game, 3 by Chicago. 2nd and 10. Bootleg off the play fake, and then the pass is intercepted. And this is Jennings again. 2 tonight, 8 for the season. He doesn't think he was down. He's still running around.
The officials aren't blowing any whistles either.
He may be right. He may be right.
And then right before, there's an official on the sideline right here by the Bears bench who right before Jennings went in the end zone waved his hands over his head and then backed up out of bounds when Lovey or whoever it was started coming after him. Remarkable. 2 already here tonight.
And he's not even in the player of the year, the defensive player of the year conversation because Tillman is. And here goes Forte, and he keeps those legs chugging, backing up and picking up 4. Talked about Jay Cutler and the problems he's had early in games. 2 TDs, 4 picks, and the lowest rating in the league in the first quarter. And then he gets okay in the second and third quarters, and he is off the charts, figuratively, in the fourth quarter with the highest rating in the league. 2nd and 6. And Forte cooking and threading and forced out after a game of 1 by Earl Mitchell.
Boy, J.J. Watt for the first time tonight dominated on that one. I think it was Lance Lewis he was going against right here. Watch him take Lewis and just drive him back into everybody. Just couldn't quite make the play. But so far tonight, the one thing that I have been noticing is that Gabe Carimi and Lance Lewis on the right side of this offensive line in run blocking and that double team block have been very, very effective so far, pushing the defensive tackles off the ball just like they thought they might.
Butler out of the shotgun on 3rd down and 5. And Jay going for the end zone, and Marshall can't handle it. Jonathan Joseph right there with him. 2nd down and 4 with the ball at the 27-yard line. And a toss. Foster. A yard shy. It'll be 3rd and 1. Tackled by Briggs. Meanwhile, Tillman, a big story this week because his wife is now full term as of the weekend. They expect to induce the baby tomorrow, but Tillman said earlier in the week, hey, if that baby's coming on Sunday, I'm going to be at the hospital.
But she wanted to come to the game.
She's at the game.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, I'm not going to miss the game, you know. So you would imagine he probably has one eye on the stands tonight.
3rd and 1, and Foster breaks contact, and Foster picks up a first down as he's finally tackled by Tillman out past the 40-yard line at the 43.
One thing you'll notice whenever you watch the Texans play, some of these short yardage plays, they will go with a very quick count. The Bears weren't even in their stance yet. Schaub goes up, snaps the football. They gain the advantage, had the extra tight end on the outside, Ryan Harris, who knocked his guy down. Very clever play call.
Lovie Smith already his 9th season as the Bears head coach. Urlacher in his 13th season. Forsett. Tackled by Tim Jennings at the 48-yard line.
It was funny, even announcing the game, it's hard to tell, are they running the stretch play or are they running the bootleg pass? Watch the linemen. They all pull. It's the exact same play. Either they give it to Foster on the left, or they pull it out and run the bootleg. And you see all the defenders, they're all running with those offensive linemen down the field. And it is just a very difficult combination if the Texans can get that stretch play working.
Second down and 6 from the 47-yard line. And into the backfield, Adonijah, but he can't tackle him, but he can slow him up and hold him to a loss. At the 45-yard line, it'll be third down and 8 after a loss of 2.
What's happening is the defensive ends of the Bears, this time Israel Adonijah, they're taking an inside route and beating the tackle. The tackle thinks they have to jump outside to run that stretch play, and the Bears are jumping in and still able to make the play on the outside, and that's been a big difference so far in this one.
Third and 9 for Gary Kubiak's team. 9.5 left in the half in a 3-3 game that has already had 5 turnovers. Sean sets up a little pass to Foster, but Foster has no blocking out in front. Conti and Briggs come in to make the tackle. It'll be fourth down. At one point over 120,000, and now it's a little bit more than 60. Boy, there were some bad seats in here in the old days. Cutler will launch one on first down, going deep, and there's contact made, but it's incidental and incomplete. Kareem Jackson back there with Devin Hester as both go to the ground. Second down and 10.
Yeah, no question about it. Kareem Jackson was going up for the ball here. There's no way this is pass interference on the play. Devin Hester, see him pushing and shoving. That's the way it's been going all night. Both of them just mistimed it. And now you've got right here, big JJ. Watch the pressure against his old Wisconsin teammate, Gabe Karimi. And Karimi got to get those arms out. Notice watching the tape last week, he didn't extend his arms. If you don't do it against J.J. Watt, he's going to wear you out.
On second and 10. Quick pass, and that is Marshall. And Marshall breaking tackles, but stopped at the 26-yard line. Tough sledding on this field. It'll be third down and 4.
Nice job by Marcus Webb getting Connor Barwin's hands down. He still almost got his hands back up to make this play. Thought we were going to have one of those J.J. Watt plays against the Bengals in the playoffs, but Brandon Marshall, that guy for Jay Cutler, you could just feel how much more at ease he is with Brandon Marshall around here, couldn't you? Good
huge
friends.
Well, it was a huge acquisition. They came up together, played their first 2 years in Denver. And Marshall went to Miami and comes back here. And Cutler loves it. Third down and 3. And Hester turns around. And all kinds of jumping up and down on the Houston bench looking for interference on Hester in 02. And then Gary came in, and Bob McNair has been deliberate, exercised a lot of patience, the owner of the team, and it's begun to pay off as the pass is incomplete, intended for Casey. It'll be second down. So Kubiak for years, Chris, as we all know, under Mike Shanahan in Denver, he was the backup to John Elway as a player, and then on Shanahan's staff for a long time.
Yeah, we asked him, did you ever try to get traded? Because he had to play behind John Elway, and he's like, heck no, I knew I couldn't play. I didn't want anybody else to know it. He is a very self-deprecating, good-humored kind of guy, and fits in beautifully with this thing.
A native Texan, played his college ball at Texas A&M. Second and 10. Short 3-step drop, and that catch, Andre Johnson, who has already now made 4 grabs in the game, and that one is good for 11 yards and a first down.
Yeah, he's going to end up right between Tillman and Urlacher, a place most people wouldn't want to be, and he holds on to the football. That's pretty good stuff. Andre Johnson, though, you look at what he's done throughout his career, yards per game, receptions per game. He's second on both those lists. Just been a tremendous player because the Texans haven't been in the playoffs very much. Not many people know him.
From the 45 to the outside, Foster. And he gets away from Roach. And he's forced out of bounds as he crosses the 50-yard line. Be a gain of 7, and it'll be second down and 3.
you know, they're trying to switch off on the outside, so they're bringing the defensive ends inside and the linebackers bouncing around, and it's supposed to be Nick Roach this time with the contain, but he doesn't get there. He doesn't get as far enough outside. You forget Arian Foster's a big guy. You know, he kind of looks like Marcus Allen to me sometimes running the football, but he weighs about 230 pounds.
2nd and 4 at the 49-yard line. Foster cuts it back inside the 40 and a big gain, and Foster closing in on 100 yards and a half behind a James Casey block. Goes for 22 yards, and on 14 carries Foster has already gained 91 yards tonight.
Once again, this down inside stunt, and Dwayne Brown's going to just drive him inside, and that allows James Casey to come around and seal that corner. So right now the Texans are making the adjustment. Let's see if the Chicago Bears now go back to the old way of doing this with the end on contain, because the Texans are taking advantage.
Foster out and Forsett in. The regular backup Ben Tate inactive tonight. Here's Forsett. He cuts it back inside the 20, inside the 10, and tackled by Chris Conte to save a touchdown. But it's going to be 1st down and goal for Houston.
It's exactly what they did. They adjusted that time. The defensive end went outside, tackle went outside, and Forsett just rips it up inside. That's what makes this play so tough to defend. About the time you think you know what you're doing with it, the Texans make an adjustment and they hit a big play on you.
And that's the good side of that line with Dwayne Brown and Wade Smith in the center, Chris Myers. Foster back in. 1st and goal from the 3. 5 minutes to the half. Foster, and he'll get taken down at the 2. One thing the Texans are terrific at, time of possession. They lead the league in that, and you look at it right now, they have had the ball for over 17 minutes. The Bears have had the ball less than 8.
You know, and it's a big reason why they've had the kind of leads that they've had. You know, they've been in the lead almost 70% of the time so far this season, and they do it with this grinded out kind of play.
2nd in points per game. They have it 2nd and goal at the 2-yard line. Rolling right and throwing, and it is caught for a touchdown by Foster. Lance Briggs covering on the play. Foster puts it into the end zone, and the first touchdown of the game belongs to the Texans. And of course they'll take a look at this upstairs. Bears great field position at the 49-yard line with 4:12 to go in the half. Forte crossing midfield, and then gang tackle led by Earl Mitchell, taking the spot of the injured Sean Cody at nose tackle. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
You know, the big difference for me so far in this ball game is then that Arian Foster now has 15 rushes for 91 yards, and Matt Forte has 6 rushes for about 11 or 12 yards, depending on what he gained on that one. And the Bears are going to have a tough time winning this game if they don't start running it better than that.
6 carries, 12 yards for him. There's Forte, swings to the outside, and a great tackle is made there by Connor Barwin, outside backer, stopping him at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd down and 8.
Connor Barwin that time kept the edge, barely working over here on the outside, working against Matt Spaeth. Almost, you're seeing a lot of guys on the edge, a little grab here, a little grab there, but Barwin, who led this team in sacks a season ago, came off and made the play.
The numbers right there. Houston with a big advantage in yardage. The Bears have only 2 first downs in the half. Texans have 10. 3rd and 9. Cutler's going to step up, and he completes the pass, but he was across the line of scrimmage. So forget all of this. There's a flag down. Hester takes it to the 5, but Cutler came across the line of scrimmage. He was inside the 49-yard line. The flag came right out as he threw it. And as they'll take a look at the replay, if any part of your body, even the back of your heel, is on the line of scrimmage, that's not official, of course, the red line. But if any part of the body is behind the line as he throws the ball, when does it come out? This is pretty close.
I think that is a legal pass.
Well, they're going to take a look at this, obviously.
Remember, it's not the ball. Jay Cutler took a big shot at the end of that play, too, and he was very slow to get up. But I think that was a legal pass if our line is correct. And Jay's still shaking off the cobwebs there.
He is. That's the only good thing about that for him is the challenge let him get his bearings back. 3rd and 9. And he steps up again. And this time he's going to run for the first down and takes another shot. Kareem Jackson belts him at the 39-yard line, but Cutler gets up quickly from that one. It's a gain of 12, first down.
He's officially a Bears quarterback. You go head first. He had to do it to pick up the first down. He just got ripped on the play before, and he dives forward and takes another shot. That's a Bears quarterback. So far in this game, maybe the slow field is helping these offensive linemen.
2 minutes to the half, first down ball at the 39-yard line. 3 receivers bunched to the right. And a swing pass to Forte, and he'll get upended as Jonathan Joseph comes up from the left corner to take him down near the line of scrimmage.
Well, you talk to the Chicago Bears and Brandon Marshall about Jonathan Joseph, and they think he is one of the top 3 cornerbacks in the league. He had a little bit of an injury, groin injury earlier this year, had a couple of bad games back-to-back, but they say Joseph is fully healthy now, and he is the man tonight on Brandon Marshall.
5 years in Cincy, and then they picked him up as a free agent last year in Houston, 2nd and 10. And Cutler stepping away from the rush, and that is Kareem Jackson with the interception. And the Chicago Bears have just turned the ball over for the 4th time in the half in the first 30 minutes. From the 28, Shaw going to work, and that's Johnson, and the pass is incomplete. Couldn't hang on. Charles Tillman is right there. 2nd and 10. Rain coming and going.
Pretty good play by Charles Tillman. We talked about him punching the ball out. Watch him come around the backside here and knock that one free. This is a clever guy. The coaches that you talk to, Lovie Smith, he's the great master teaching these turnovers. He said, I have never, ever seen a guy more talented at punching the ball out.
Been doing it for 10 years. And going nowhere. Brian Urlacher making sure that Foster is dumped. The Bears have 2 timeouts, so they want to spend one here. And they will, because it's going to be 3rd down and 20. Timeout Chicago.
Julius Peppers blew this up, and then Brian Urlacher cleaned it up. Julius Peppers takes his guy straight back, got the pulling guard, got his tackle, and for Urlacher, all he had to do was just come in there and take care of business. Inside, pulled off the pulling center, trying to get around the outside.
So Peppers came a couple of years ago, and Phil Emery is the new general manager. Bringing in Marshall, bringing in Jason Campbell as a backup quarterback, bringing in Bush, 3rd and 19. And now Chicago will take another timeout. Arian Foster, short gain, 59 seconds. Chicago will go to work when they get the ball back without a timeout. Cutler from the gun at the 21-yard line. And he's going to take off again. And Cutler with a big gain, sliding to a hold out past the 40-yard line. So that's a gain of 19 yards. They'll spot it at the 40. Clock running down. Crowd getting anxious. Wasting a lot of time here. They finally snap it at 27. And then over the middle it's dropped. Kellen Davis. Bears have had a lot of problems at tight end. Davis has been in the crosshairs too because of blocking issues, and then he drops one here. He fumbled earlier. 2nd and 10.
Yeah, with some of the pass protection issues that Kellen Davis has had, and he had a rough day just like Gabe Carimi did the other day. You better hang on to the football if you're going to stay in the lineup. Of course, Greg Olsen no longer around.
Cutler has run for more yards than he's passed for. 37-36 in the half. 2nd and 10. Good protection, and then that is dropped. That's Matt Forte going deep downfield, and it'll be 3rd down and 10.
Well, I tell you, if this is a better throw, this might be a touchdown. Thrown behind Forte. He ran right by Glover Quinn, and there really was nobody in the middle of the field. The safeties had split wide. If that one gets caught in stride from Forte, it might have been a touchdown.
3rd and 10 is main man Marshall, bottom of the screen to the right. Joseph staying with him. The cover looks left and throws a very short pass to Devin Hester, and that's going to do nothing at all. Quentin Demps makes the tackle, and the Chicago Bears will just regroup and go into the locker room. The Redskins drafted him in 05, and he was going to be, you know, as everybody in Washington always is, the new quarterback, you know, the new Sonny Jurgensen. He was there through 09. Then he was the Raiders quarterback, and he got hurt there and lost the job, and they made the trade for Carson Palmer. So he's on the market, and the Bears wind up with him, and here he goes in the second half. 70 career starts, so a ton of experience. Takes over at the 23-yard line. And they start conservatively with a nice gain this time by Forte for a gain of 7. First half numbers, Houston, a great rushing attack. The turnovers, of course, are huge, with Chicago coughing it up 4 times. But the rushing game, Foster with 85 yards, and they've been limiting the Chicago rushing game. Forte only 18 yards, and that's the one significant difference. Campbell's been in 3 games this season and has thrown 1 pass. And here goes Forte, and a good start for Chicago here as they pick up a first down as he chugs his way out to the 39-yard line. Only the 5th first down of the night for the Bears.
Well, the one thing that the Bears are getting now, they're getting some movement on these double teams inside. This was the plan coming in, and now maybe because Jason Campbell is playing quarterback, who's only thrown 1 pass all season, they get back to what this game probably called for from the beginning. Big guys, they felt like they were bigger and stronger on their offensive line, and they're getting after it now.
From the 38-yard line. Paul Forte's number again, and this time it is Brady James, the longtime Dallas Cowboy who played there when Wade Phillips was the head coach, who stops him.
Well, now because you have 2 tight ends in the game and a fullback, you end up with only 3 defensive backs on the field. So basically Wade Phillips saying, all right, Jason Campbell, you want to throw it, there you go. I'm going to take one of my DBs off the field, but I'm not going to let you just turn around and hand the ball off to Matt Forte and beat me. Back to 4 DBs now.
340.
And on 2nd and 9, Campbell's second pass of the season is to Marshall on the outside, but Joseph is right there. And again, that field, which is tough under any conditions, particularly tough tonight, and particularly on the outside.
Al, I've seen a lot of games here, and it looks like they resawed the inside part of the field, but this outside part, when it gets wet, watch Brandon Marshall try and make a cut here. You see it all the time. I've seen about 4 guys fall down already in this game, and you just wonder at some point, you wonder at some point, is a slip and fall by a defensive back going to end up deciding this game?
That's your vegetable garden, isn't it?
No, you want no part of it.
You bet. 3rd and 6, and Campbell throws, and that is Brandon Marshall, who gets free down the left side for a big gain on the first down at the 41-yard line of the Texans.
It's a good move that time by Brandon Marshall. He's been running a lot of slants. He's going to sell it on Joseph this time. Watch him fake in and then back outside, and Quentin Demps can't get there. One of the big matchups in this game, Gabe Karimi against his old college teammate. And I tell you, Gabe Karimi has come back in a big way this game after a poor performance last week.
gain of 18. Good opening drive for the Bears. Down by a touchdown. Forte. Nothing. Second and long.
Well, that was one of the few times that they didn't get in behind that double team. I tell you, the double team, though, by Gabe Karimi and Lance Lewis is getting big movement. They're moving the defensive tackles a good 4 or 5 yards backwards. That time they just didn't catch up with the scraping linebacker, but they are getting movement from those two guys on the right side.
Double. 380.
Second and 10. Play fake. Pressure put on. Pass has gotten away, but for a very minimal gain, if any. Matt Spade making the catch, and Dobbins with the tackle.
You just have to love the job that Tim Dobbins has done coming in, a special teams captain, a guy that they really didn't expect to play much linebacker, and then Brian Cushing got hurt, who was such a superstar, a great coverage linebacker. Daryl Sharpton was supposed to be the guy that was going to take over for D'Amico Ryans, and yet here it is, Tim Dobbins, who's playing on a team with 1 loss, and he's a big reason why.
Special teams captain when the season started, of course, with Cushing out, a different role. Third down and 10, and over the middle, it's a short pass. It's Marshall who escapes for the moment, and then he picks up about 4 extra yards, but he's still 5 yards shy of the first down. So, and let's see how the second half chess game develops. Starting from the 3-yard line, and Schaub has to get rid of it, and it's incomplete because he was chased by Tim Jennings coming in on the corner blitz. Rain coming down a little bit harder now. Second down and 10.
Tim Jennings having a big night here coming up. Oh, sorry about that. Coming all the way across this way here. Chase that thing all the way across the field. And, of course, anytime you're throwing out of your own end zone, be careful. Any kind of holding call, anything like that in the end zone is a safety.
Jennings 2 picks in the game, 8 for the season to lead the league. Second and 10. And trying to get some breathing room, but Urlacher says to Arian Foster. It might even be a loss of 1. Going to be third and long. Let's go to Michelle.
Gary Kubiak told me at halftime, Al, that Matt Schaub, the 49 yards passing and 2 interceptions in the first half were due to the brutal weather conditions. And while he'd prefer to be balanced, they are going to rely more on Arian Foster here in the second half. But he said, hey, we do have to make some plays in the passing game.
All right, Michelle, and the weather's going to get worse. Just look at the radar. There's a lot of rain, and the temperature's going to drop. This is about as good as it's going to be probably for the rest of the game. Third and 11. And through the middle goes Foster, and they're able to stop him at the 7-yard line. So they do give some room to Donnie Jones for his forthcoming punt.
They are going to play tough against this running game. They are all stacked up there now.
Second and 9. Screen pass, but that hits the ground. Incomplete. Marshall was there, the intended receiver. It'll be third and 9 for the Bears.
One of the problems the Bears have had all season long, I was talking to Mike Tice about it, they are last in the NFL on first down production. They have just been in too many of these 2nd and 10s and 3rd and 10s. And boy, I don't care who you are, especially up front with an offensive line that's still sort of developing and finding themselves. This is a tough spot. Now here comes J.J. Watt, Connor Barwin, all these guys.
Third and 9. In a steady rain. Campbell flushed out and dives forward to the 45-yard line, but they'll have to punt. That's Tim Dobbins making the tackle. It'll be 4th and 4. His foot, so it was on the sidelines during the playoffs. On 2nd and 9, that passes behind Andre Johnson. It'll be 3rd down and 9, but he's about as good a ball handler as you'll ever see, Chris.
Yeah, and the interesting part about him is he's not a runner at all. He's had 1 rush for positive yards this year for 2 yards. And yet when you look at his numbers outside the pocket, they're remarkable. You look at his numbers after contact when you think maybe a Mike Vick or a scrambler kind of guy might have the best numbers. This guy has been sensational. So while he is not a guy that is going to move around and run a lot, he does find ways to make things work in that pocket.
Big at 6'5" and 240, played his college football at Virginia. And that pass is caught, but not for a first down, because Hayden is right there to tackle Kevin Walker. So it'll be 4th down, and the Texans will punt again. A great tribute to him, and the Bears do that, and they've done it at every home game over the last 4.5 years. Now Chicago starts this drive from the 48-yard line with Forte taking it to the midfield stripe. It'll be 2nd down and 2 with a little over 5 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter. One of these teams going to 8-1.
Yeah, I'd start throwing the ball to Matt Forte. That's their best shot.
That's 2nd and 13. They're going to go deep for Marshall, and he makes the catch at the 10-yard line. A beautiful pass. Coverage was pretty tight, and it's 45 yards.
Brandon Marshall's not a bad option either. Jonathan Joseph on the outside. Marshall, not a real speedster, but he does this beautifully. He goes up and gets the ball. How many times this year have you seen it as a Bears fan? The Bears doing absolutely nothing, can't get it going, and then in the second half of games, it's Brandon Marshall who just makes a play.
Ball right at the 10, thus a 1st and goal. And on the ground, room for Forte, who gets about half the distance. 2nd and goal from the 5-yard line.
You know, we were talking to Jay Cutler and Brandon Marshall both, and Brandon was really frustrated early in the year because he was getting doubled a lot of 2 safety looks, and Jay Cutler just kept saying, be patient, be patient. Then that defense would make a play, and they'd get some single coverage, and it seems like the second half is when his numbers really start to take off.
2nd and goal, raining about as hard as it has at any point. Forte the back, Forte the ball carrier, and he'll get taken down at the 5-yard line. That's J.J. Watt right there, big number 99, setting up a 3rd and goal.
It's just so tough to contain that big guy. His quickness is just overwhelming. He just jumped around, gave Karimi on that one. I've seen him do this on some plays. You know, it looks like you're going to have to go inside to beat him, and he jumps all the way around the outside and still beats you the ball carrier.
3rd and goal. Bears trying to tie the game. Houston trying to limit them to a field goal attempt. Campbell rolling with it, throwing on the run, and nobody is open. Earl Bennett was there, but he was well covered, and thus on 4th down, in comes Robbie Gould and company of the Bears serve in Vietnam. From the 11 now, Shaw will hand the ball to Foster, and he cannot get out of the backfield. And the crowd now, as loud as it's been tonight, the Bears haven't given him that much to cheer about, but they know the importance as this game winds down to the final 16.5 minutes.
Well, we're starting to see Lance Briggs and Brian Urlacher beat the Texans to the punch on this play. Briggs goes and cuts it off, and Urlacher comes in behind and cleans it up. Those two guys quite likely will be visiting each other in the Hall of Fame.
They played 125 games together, and Shaw will throw, and wide open is Kevin Walker, who makes the catch and gives them a lot of breathing room, tackled by Chris Conti. That's a gain of 23 yards.
Now this time it's Tim Jennings who's going to slip and fall outside those numbers again. It's just a treacherous area. You drive them off and make a cut, and you just wonder, because as defensive backs, if you fall down, it's a touchdown. So they have to play off, and that time able to take advantage.
Only 6 passes caught by wideouts, 4 by Johnson. That's the 2nd for Walter. 1st down at the 32, final half minute of the period. And Foster to the outside and able to break an ankle tackle and pick up about 8 yards before he's forced out by Major Wright. It's 2nd and 3 from the 39-yard line for the Houston Texans. And going nowhere and stacked up at the line of scrimmage And Chicago doing a good job on Foster after he had a great first half, and they bottled him up in the second. Collins making the stop.
One of the guys that's right inside right there is Nate Collins. And he's a young man that comes in, but last week when I was watching the tape, I kept going, who is number 93, this Nate Collins? And he's a guy that's filling in for Matt Twina, just getting some snaps, but more and more now, he's impressing the likes of Brian Urlacher. He says, hey, you tell him to get in the gap, that guy gets in the gap, and he's not moving.
The team, as we said at the top, because most of its games with the roof closed at Reliant Stadium. 3rd and 4, and Schaub will get buried at the 30-yard line, and that will be the first sack of the game for either team. Henry Melton among those in there.
Yeah, it's Julius Peppers and Henry Melton right in here. Two of the most athletic guys you'll see. They move them inside. Henry Melton was a punt returner at Texas. He scored 10 touchdowns as a running back, and now he's playing defensive tackle.
Looked at him at halftime, and that was the end of his night. Michael Bush is now the running back as we start this series from the 38-yard line. And Campbell will throw, and that's caught at the 41, and then Marshall is able to spin away with some nice moves, and is close to a first down, tackled by Glover Quinn.
All you gotta do is just get that big guy the ball. I love what Lovie Smith said about Brandon Marshall. He said the Chicago Bears deserve to have a receiver like that. In other words, meaning a big, tough, physical, strong, just going to overwhelm guys going up for the ball. That's a Chicago Bears receiver.
2nd and inches. And now this is Bush. And Michael Bush to the 33-yard line. So Bush, another guy from Oakland, Campbell from Oakland, the two backups, and that results in a 20-yard gain.
There's the double team we've been talking about, and then it's Evan Rodriguez coming through and cleaning up on Brady James, but that was the same play that he fumbled on earlier when he picked up a first down. This time hangs on.
Out of the 33-yard line. And Bush again angles his way just past the 30-yard line. Stopped there by Mitchell. Going to set up a 2nd down and 6 for the Bears.
Same exact play. Double team here. Fullback's going to block there. Same play. Until you stop it, you're going to keep seeing it. And I tell you, Michael Bush is a big guy. He was the leading rusher for the Oakland Raiders a year ago, almost 1,000 yards, and when he gets going downhill at you, you know it.
2nd and 6. And Campbell able to get it away, and that pass is incomplete, and then Joseph almost got it off the deflection. Been a tale of two halves here. Houston, the big advantage statistically in the first half. Here in the second half, Chicago 129 yards and Houston 32.
Watch Connor Barwin on this one. This was a guy who was one of those workout freaks. His vertical jump, all his speed stuff at the combine just blew everybody away. Came in, was the leading sacker for Houston last year, sort of taking over for Mario Williams. Almost made that one.
3rd and 6 from the 30. Blitz coming. Campbell gets it away, and it's incomplete. Marshall is there. Crowd wants a flag. There is none. Jonathan Joseph with the coverage, and it's 4th down. Just south of downtown. Schaub on first down throws, and the catch is made for a very minimal gain by Garrett Graham. Backup tight end again. Houston playing without its number 1 tight end tonight, Owen Daniels.
Yeah, there just aren't many things that you can throw at Brian Urlacher and Lance Briggs they haven't seen. J.J. Watt's pretty good himself, a guy that's making a name for himself, probably the defensive player of the year in the first half of the season. But for Matt Schaub now, they need a first down. They need to get something started.
Play action. And incomplete. Good coverage that time. Intended for Walter, and that's Jennings, who has 2 interceptions tonight, breaking it up.
I'll tell you, this Tim Jennings is making an impression. 8 interceptions to lead the NFL. There he is on the outside, working across to Kevin Walter. And both of these teams kind of have the same situation. They have one receiver that they want to throw to all the time and desperately need somebody else that can step up and make plays against man-to-man coverage. And so far, neither team has.
On 3rd and 7, 4-man rush. Pass is dropped. Would have had the first down. Graham at the 49-yard line can't hang on. 4th down.
It's country, doesn't it?
You bet. Look at something like that for sure. On the 14-yard line, they begin this drive with a Forte gain of about 4.
Well, here's what the Bears have done really well on offense, and it hasn't been a lot, but the 2 guys inside, Karimi and Lewis, with their double team, and Evan Rodriguez coming in there as a fullback and cleaning up. But that has been their strength, and that was what they thought they might be able to do in this game. It's been effective. You got to stay with it. The problem is you have one bad play in that sequence, then you got to throw the ball, and that's when it really hasn't been working out so well.
Tale of 2 halves in total yardage and in rushing yardage. 10 minutes to play on 2nd down and 5. And Campbell to Marshall. And Marshall with a flag down. Close to a first down. Flag down to the offensive backfield behind the quarterback.
Complete a pass on 2nd, but now you're backed up. And now you have to be careful because Wade Phillips gets to open the playbook a little bit at this point and probably comes after your quarterback.
Houston blitzes more than any team in the league. No sacks though tonight. And Campbell checks it off underneath, and that is Matt Spaeth taking it out to the 15-yard line. That's going to make it 3rd down and 9.
Well, Gabe Karimi has really bounced back in this game. He's getting some help here from Matt Forte, but Karimi is more than holding his own. He struggled last week. Tonight, probably the field's helping him out a little bit, but that was perfect pass protection across the board. You can't blame what's happened tonight on the pass protection.
3rd and 9 as we tick down under 9 minutes. They send Forte out wide. They go 5 wide here. Forte wide left. Marshall comes out of the slot. The pass goes to Forte, and Joseph comes up from the secondary, rotating to cover him. Incomplete, not even close. 4th and 9. The 47-yard line. It's a 5-yard pickup to start this drive for Arian Foster. So what do the Bears need tonight? Well, they probably need a defensive score. Since 04, Lovie Smith, a 5th of the Bears' touchdowns have been scored by the special teams or by the defense. Highest percentage in the league, and the rest of the league averages 9%.
What was the number on Lovie Smith? Like 17 more takeaways than any other team in the league since he's taken over as the coach of the Bears. And you'd think weather like this would be a perfect game for them, but they just couldn't get anything going with their offense so far.
2nd down and 5. Houston's got nothing offensively in this half until now, as Foster takes it to the 40-yard line. A flag is down at the end of the play, and the Texans are all signaling it's going to go against Chicago.
Like a face mask on the tail end of that one from Corey Wooten.
Arian Foster now over 100 yards, 106 on 25 carries. And nothing here, and it's Henry Melton making the tackle.
I tell you, this Henry Melton is something. He is as athletic as any defensive tackle you'll see. We talked about he was a running back at Texas. Give you some idea what kind of athlete he was. Just jumps over you, try and cut that guy, and more often than not, you just end up picking dirt out of your face mask. They have talented young guys. I think of Tommy Harris back in the day when they went to the Super Bowl, and kind of factor he was before he got hurt.
1-yard loss. 2nd and 11. Here goes Foster swinging to the outside. Flag is thrown. 2 flags, in fact, both at the 30-yard line.
Yeah, he was more than anybody.
Exactly right. 2nd down and 21. And Schaub's going to throw it. But short. underneath to the 35-yard line. That's Foster making the catch. Urlacher making the tackle. Line of scrimmage will be the 35. 53-yard field goal in these conditions and give the Bears a shorter field. 3rd and 19. And that is caught and taken to the 24-yard line. So now you're in very makeable field goal range as Garrett Graham picks up some very valuable yardage, 11 yards. So instead of maybe a short punt, now you've got a field goal attempt to try to make it a 7-point game. Let's go to Michelle.
Well, Shane Graham will be kicking into the wind. One thing he told me that was a concern was the field, and so he might shorten his approach a little bit, although he doesn't look like he's going to. That wind blowing across the field from the Houston sideline to the Bears, Al.
All right, Michelle, it's a 42-yard attempt. Donnie Jones is the holder. Snap's good, so is the placement, and the kick is good. So a big 11-yard gain puts them in position to make it a 7-point lead, 13-6 with 4:49 left. And now Chicago down by 7 with Campbell at the helm. Start this drive from the 25-yard line. Oh, he's lucky that wasn't picked, and if that one was picked, that would have been a pick 6.
First down blitz that time by Glover Quinn right off the edge here, and Jason Campbell had to get rid of it, but Danielle Manning almost took that one in, and boy, wouldn't he have loved to have done that. He's already made 2 huge plays in the game and almost ended this one.
Pass intended for Bennett. Almost every pass tonight they've thrown intended for Marshall, who's caught 7 of Chicago's 14 completions. Good protection for Campbell, but then the secondary does its work and he's forced to throw underneath and the crowd doesn't like it. Matt Spaeth.
The protection was perfect, Al, and he missed an opportunity. He had Brandon Marshall down the field here. Kareem Jackson's going to fall down on the coverage or get knocked down, and he still had time. There was nobody around Jason Campbell. He had time to read this one out. He did not have to check this one down. They had their opportunity for the first down on that play.
Checked it down, a loss of 1. It's 3rd down and 11. Texans going with 6 defensive backs. 4-man rush. Campbell stepping up, throws, and incomplete. That's Kellen Davis going up for it, trying to make the catch, and he has been in the crosshairs of the Bluebirds now in Chicago for about a month. 4th down. Now the Texans from the 32. Chicago has to start thinking about using its timeouts on this side of the 2-minute break as Foster gets taken down by Melton.
Henry Melton just too quick inside. I mean, he is just... See if I can pick him out of this crowd. They got about 100 defenders in here, right in here. Just going to split the gap, stay on his feet, and make the play in the backfield. Offensive linemen aren't used to having to deal with that kind of quickness and that kind of athleticism.
Interesting how coaches can go 2 ways here. Somebody like Tom Coughlin would love to take his timeouts on this side of the 2-minute warning, maybe at this point. But Lovie Smith's going to let those timeouts remain on the board. Meanwhile, Schaub can take the play clock all the way down. Here goes Foster, and Foster gets taken down to the 30-yard line, and now Chicago will spend the first of its timeout. 3rd and 13. Give it to Foster, and if nothing else, they'll make Chicago use another timeout. And so they have 1 plus the 2-minute warning, and they'll get the ball back after a punt. More on that. The 17 to the other guys, and 12 to Marshall. 1st and 10 from the 38. Swing it to Forte, and he'll get taken down immediately by Barwin. And he can't get out of bounds either.
Well, Connor Barwin is just going to follow him everywhere, which he is. Got to take your shot. Now it's to that point in the game. You had Earl Bennett right down the seam there with a chance.
2nd and 12. And to the outside, and that's going to be with a flag down, caught by Hester to the 42. Regardless of the penalty call here, we're at the 2-minute warning, and we'll look ahead to next week's game between Baltimore and Pittsburgh. It is 2nd and 23 after the holding call. 4-man rush. Campbell checks it off underneath. Short gain caught by Kyle Adams. So it's going to be 3rd and 16 now. Bears have 1 timeout. And obviously in a situation where they go for it on 4th down.
Got to take your shots eventually.
And they go to Marshall over the middle. Marshall trying to spring free around the outside. He'll go down at the 40, so it comes down to this for Chicago. It's going to be 4th down and 8. Campbell without the huddle. He's got Marshall going to the left side. He's got Hester to the right side. He's got Bennett in the slot to the right. Pressure seconds ticking off. Down to a minute. And the pass intended for Forte is incomplete. Surrounded by 4 white shirts. All the Bears throw their hands up saying, where's the call? And there is none.
And I tell you, for big question for the Chicago Bears for next week, will Jay Cutler be around? Because the backup quarterback thing for the Bears is just not working out. Caleb Haney and now Jason Campbell not getting production if Jay Cutler's not in there.
Only thing that works to their benefit is they get the extra day since they've got the Monday night game next week in San Francisco. So this one is over. Not a work of art, but it didn't figure to be under these conditions with the rain and the wind and all of the rest. And the Texans go home with a win, 13-6.